want to say thank you for joining us this evening. Our usual hostess is with family today, celebrating one of our godson's birthdays. So we know on doctor's orders, we put family first. So I just want to welcome you. I can't do it quite as good a job as our usual hostess, Ruth Presley, would do, but I'm really, really glad that you joined us this evening. As she would usually tell you, we're part of a family, an extended family of people who are committed to inspiring healthy living around the world. We're part of the Juice Plus community, and the Juice Plus community has been around since the 1970s. But we are here today because we encountered the Juice Plus community and it made such a tremendous difference to our lives. And we learned so much that a lot of the things that I share in my regular programming, welcome those who are joining us, are based, a lot of those things are based on things I started to learn because I was part of the Juice Plus community. Later on, you'll hear more about the Juice Plus community, about the concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules and how they can be helpful for your healthy living journey. But let's get back to what we're doing here. You are at doctor's orders. I am Coach Carla Joy, and I wonder how many of you can raise your hand, would like to move away from pain and exhaustion. You'd like the pain or exhaustion that you're experiencing to stop. Okay, how many of you want your energy back and want the body that you have to stop feeling out of sorts or not functioning the way you want? Okay, and how many of you want to reduce the fear of a cancer diagnosis? Well, if you said yes to any of those, you're in the right place. Now, I am not a clinician. I don't have a license to practice medicine. I cannot diagnose or treat, but this session is about education and information. So if you have a relationship with a medical professional, please do not make any changes to your medical protocol without having a discussion with your physician, with your nurse practitioner, with your medical professional about what you'd like to do, the changes you'd like to make, and why, so that they can support you, they can give you guidelines, and they can directly monitor your progress to support you. So once again, welcome to Doctor's Orders. You may see me glancing down because I've got a stack of notes here because I want to make sure that the information that I give you today is helpful and that I don't miss anything. So I'm Coach Carla Joy. I'm a medically trained health educator, speaker, author, and coach. So for those of you who have not heard my story before, may I take a few moments to tell you just a little bit about how I got here, how I learned about the hope that I want to share with you tonight? Say yes or type yes in the chat.
Yes.
Thank you. So picture this. I was in a cold exam room. Did you ever notice how cold those exam rooms tend to be? You're sitting there, you're nervous already, and the temperature is so low. Well, anyway, I was waiting for my nurse practitioner to come in and give me the results of my medical exam. You with me? Well, she comes in and she gives the diagnosis. She says, young lady, you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and prediabetes. I, I almost went into shock because I thought I was the healthiest person I knew. And you see, high cholesterol is also a marker for increased cancer risk. And so even though I thought I was relatively healthy, even though I'd had surgeries, I had medications, I was on different medications, I thought I was healthy. Have you ever felt the shock of an unexpected diagnosis? Or have you ever felt the frustration of doing everything that you think is right and then realizing it's not good enough? Or have you ever felt the confusion of realizing that the medical system that you trusted in for decades, or in my case, invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, even mortgaged my future towards learning about, because I was in training to become a medical professional, that system didn't protect you from the very conditions you were learning to manage? I was scared. And don't get me wrong, if I get hit by a bus, please take me to the emergency room because we have the best emergency care, I think, in the world. But when it comes to chronic or degenerative diseases or diseases like cancer, you, uh, we don't seem to have such a good track record. And since my mother and her father both died in the same year from cancer, I had to find new answers for myself because I was now a statistic. I now had a marker for increased cancer risk, which was the high cholesterol. I had to find something outside the box because I was being trained in the modern medical arena, but most of the people didn't seem to get better. Some people felt that they were improving, but they eventually got worse. And then I had to look around. I had to ask people. I asked Ruthie, our usual hostess, what she was doing to maintain her health. And then my goddaughter, who is now a doctor of physical therapy, introduced me to the documentary Forks Over Knives, and then to a lecture by Dr. Michael Greger called Uprooting the Cause of Disease. If you would like links to those, please put your contact information, maybe your email or your text number in the chat, and I'll make sure that I get that at the end to send it to you. So when I saw those, I got hope. And I share this story because I want you to discover the hope that I suddenly felt. Remember, my mother and my grandfather had both died from cancer. What if chronic diseases, including cancer, could have a healthy U-turn, and it was possible through simple changes in lifestyle? What if that's possible? But what have we been taught by the media, by ads, by popular culture, even some of our medical professionals? They've taught us that weight gain with age is normal. There's even a statistic that women after a certain age can gain up to 5 pounds a year. That as you age, you can expect degenerative chronic diseases like heart disease, joint disease, hormonal disease, heart attacks, and cancer. You can expect to have more and more medications. In fact, whenever you go to the doctor, the first thing they want you to do is tell them your medical history, your family history, and the drugs, the medications that you're on. And there's even a statistic that most men over 60 can expect to develop prostate cancer, and that a certain number of women can expect to develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Well, what do the experts tell us? Dr. Michael Greger, and what I want you to take away from this is that you can create a health seatbelt. Dr. Michael Greger says that the top killers in the United States, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, are largely preventable through diet. Dr. Dean Ornish says what we eat and how we live can actually transform our genes, literally changing the way our cells function, turning on disease-fighting genes and turning off genes that promote cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. Dr. Will Bolshewitz, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, he is a gastroenterologist and cancer surgeon. He says, a diverse plant-based diet feeds your microbiome, that's the bugs that are in your gut, which reduces systemic inflammation and protects against chronic disease. Then Dr. Joel Furman says the major cause of all diseases afflicting Americans today is a produce deficient diet. And finally, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn says genetics load the gun, but it's lifestyle that pulls the trigger. So we try to simplify all of that here at Doctor's Orders, and we say that you just need to eat more fruits and vegetables. But why does this work? Well, I'm glad you asked. So most disease, according to the experts, is connected with something called chronic inflammation. Now, inflammation, acute inflammation, is a healing process. So if I took something and scratched myself, you would see it get red, swollen, hot, painful, and I might lose some of the function of that area. Those are classic signs of the healing process known as acute inflammation. And anytime the body is under attack, acute inflammation can happen. It can come and then it resolves, it goes away. But if your body is constantly under attack, it can develop something called chronic inflammation, which has to do with our immune system being switched on and staying on. It's like, think of a furnace. A furnace is supposed to trigger on, and then when the house warms up, it switches off. But if the switch gets stuck and it just is stuck on the on position, the furnace just keeps burning and burning and burning. It's something like that. You see, all cells are driven by DNA, but only less than 10% of the cancers are directly caused by genetics. In fact, when you listen to and look at the research, you'll find that the genes associated with different types of cancers, they're not uniform. You might have a few genes that are the same, but they're usually a plethora of genes, and we'll come back to that. You see, cancer cells are rogue cells that, number one, they don't obey the signals to stop growing and dividing. So they just keep growing and dividing. They don't listen. They don't listen to the stop sign. Number two, they trigger blood vessel growth within them. So they draw the blood vessels and they say, tell the blood vessels, come over here, give us more blood so that we can continue to grow. And the third thing is that they use an alternative path of energy to keep growing, even though they don't use the glucose that your regular cells use to produce energy. The research indicates that this rogue nature in the cells can be triggered by exposure to radiation. Because you're probably asking the question, how do we get cancer? Why does it even start? Right? Are you guys tracking with me? Well, it could be exposure to radiation. It could be exposure to toxic chemicals. It could be due to repeated injury of some kind. I'm going to have a sip of water. But There's even a natural cause inside of our bodies. As our bodies go through natural metabolism, they produce something called free radicals or oxygen species. These oxidative chemicals are produced normally, but they damage the energy factories within the cells, something called mitochondria. And these charged chemicals are usually neutralized by something called antioxidants or anti-inflammatory foods. The good news is that these same foods can be shown to switch off cancer genes and to switch on cancer preventing genes in our DNA. I know, when I first heard that food could affect your DNA, I was blown away. So who wants to know what are pro-inflammatory or or pro-cancer foods and what are anti-inflammatory or anti-cancer foods? Okay, I see that hand. I see those hands. So pro-inflammatory foods are usually high in fat, low in fiber, highly processed. In other words, they don't look very much like the original food, and they have a lot of salt, oil, or simple sugars. So if you find any food that fits into that category, you can suspect that it's probably pro-inflammatory. What about anti-inflammatory? What about anti-cancer foods? What are the characteristics? They'll be high in fiber, they'll be low in fat, they'll be have a low calorie density. And what group of foods just usually covers that? Plants. Who's surprised? Plants, fruits, vegetables, grains, peas and beans. They're all included in that list of anti-inflammatory foods. So are you with me? So now you want to know, how do we know that this really works? Well, we could look at the work of a researcher called Dan Buettner. He wrote a book called The Blue Zones. Now, blue zones are areas in the world where people have a lower disease and rate, and they have a longer lifespan. They live longer, they live healthier. The blue zones are in Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, and right here in the United States, Loma Linda, California. What are the characteristics of these people who live longer and healthier? Well, they have a traditional way of living. Usually, I would let my friend Ruth Presley tell you about her health journey, but she's not with us tonight. So maybe you'll come back next week, or if you like, I can drop a link from one of our previous presentations where she spoke. But we could also look at the patients who have had chronic diseases that are associated with chronic illness. You see, it's not one eating plan or one habit that affects just one condition. These people have a lower rate of heart disease, a lower rate of cancer, a lower rate of diabetes, a lower rate of autoimmune disease. If you go down the list of CDC, 15 most common causes of death, in these areas, they all have a much lower rate. They tend to live in communities. They tend to work hard on the land and they walk a lot. They are very active and they have a lot of things in common, including their diet. And so we'll be talking a little bit more about exactly what that diet looks like in a moment. We can also look at the patients of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, whose patients reverse their heart disease. Persons like Joel Furman and Michael Greger, who talk about the reversal of heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Dr. Neil Barnard's Geico study. You can look at the work of Kelly Turner, PhD. She wrote a book, Radical Remission, where patients talked about how they reversed their cancer diagnosis. So many of you might be asking, well, what can we do? What can we do next? Because even though I can't diagnose or predict your body's response, I can let you know about a healthy seatbelt, a way that you can put a seatbelt on your health so that seatbelts don't prevent accidents, but they give you the best opportunity if an accident happens. But you may be asking, I'm so busy, I don't have time to make big changes. So, what I'm going to suggest to you is something that is simple and easy. You may want something that is simple, easy, and quick because you don't have much time. And so I will share that with you. You'll want something that is budget friendly, something that you can afford to add to whatever you're doing so that you can make a difference right away. And so we'll talk about that. But some people say, I don't have a lot of support in my family. So it has to be something that's easy to share and something that will not cause problems in the family. So, how many of you know picky eaters? We have something for them too. So, is it all right with you for me to share a little bit about how we serve people? It may not be for everyone because not everyone is ready to make or to have a healthy U-turn. You may be driving down the highway and your car may be going kalunk, 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 but you're like, oh, it's made that sound before and nothing happened. And you're content with that. Or you may be seeing a red light on your dashboard of your car. When the red light comes on, you have a couple of options. You can pull over, take out the manual, and try to find out what's wrong. Or you could go in the engine and disconnect the light so it stops flashing, and then get back into your car and keep driving. You have a couple of options. So the same right here. Your body may be giving you warning signals and you might be ignoring them. Or the signals might be so mild, you say, oh, I've lived with that for 5 years. Nothing's bad's going to happen. Or you might be saying, you know what? I'll just put a little lotion on that and it'll stop hurting and I'll just keep on living life. So you might not be ready for a change. But for those of you who are, or you may know someone who is ready, this may be perfect because some of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you know someone who is sick and tired of being sick and tired and wants instead to be fit and healthy. And so, if you want to be fit and healthy, or you know someone who may be fit and healthy, if there was a way that you could jumpstart that healthy living journey, if you could move away from pain and fear of a diagnosis, or the fear of the outcome of an actual diagnosis, would you want to know later or would you want to know now? I would want to know now. Yeah, thank you. So here are some of the things that we do to help people. First, we invite you into our healthy living community. One of my very good friends, Jennifer New, has a Facebook group. It's free, but it's private. A lot of organizations make you pay $75 or $95 a month to be part of a Facebook group. But this one is free. But you just have to be invited by me or the person who invited you this evening. So in that Facebook group, you will have access to recipes, you'll have access to information, you'll have access to information about a healthy living journey, and to medical professionals who use um, the healthy living journey to help their patients. You could also have access to the Juice Plus products. And I'll tell you why the Juice Plus products are part of what we share. Remember, I told you that the people who were in the blue zones, they ate a whole food plant-based eating plan? Well, that meant 90% of what they ate came from fruits, vegetables, grains, peas, and beans. But I also told you that you may want a simple, inexpensive, budget-friendly, and easy way to get those into your body. So, as part of the Juice Plus company, we're giving you this option. You can speak to the person who invited you, and they can tell you more about the concentrated fruits, vegetables, and berries. You have 10 fruit, 10 vegetables, and 10 berries. They're grown in very clean soil, no herbicides or pesticides. They're not picked until they're perfectly ripe. And, uh, and yes, we also have the omegas, and I'll talk about them soon. And when they are picked, as soon as possible, they're flash frozen to lock in all those extra nutrients that develop during the last stages of growth. And then they're concentrated into capsules. These are tested, batch tested by an independent external company so that we know that there's nothing in here that shouldn't be there. And thanks for reminding me about the omegas. A lot of people know that they don't have the right amount of omega-3 in their body. And so a lot of people eat fish oils. Did you know that fish don't make omegas? They actually get them from the algae in their environment, and they concentrate those omega oils into their flesh. But at the same time, they're concentrating toxins from the water that they're swimming in, or from other smaller fish that they may have eaten. So we bypassed the middle fish, went straight to the algae and other plant sources like pomegranates, raspberry, and sea buckthornberry, to name a few. So here we have a blend of omegas, omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, the way they occur in nature. So it's not just one omega, it's 5 omegas that will be available in a plant-based capsule. In addition, we have the complete shakes. So many people get hungry while they're out or on the road, and they stop at fast food places. Well, you can have your own fast food. This is protein and fiber and vegetables all together, all completely plants. 13 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, and 1 gram of healthy fats. But it also has alfalfa, broccoli sprouts, amaranth quinoa, pomegranate powder, pumpkin powder. So you've got getting a lot of fruits and vegetables in here that you can just add to water or a plant-based milk, and that can keep you satisfied for an hour or two so that you don't have to resort to fast food places. But we also have the superfood. Now, I told you about the fruits and vegetables in the capsules. Well, they took them out of the capsules and put them in a little sleeve. So you can get 30 fruit, vegetables, and berries, put them in water, shake it around, and that makes a refreshing drink. So you can increase your water and have your fruit and vegetables as well. And many people want more energy, but they don't want any jitters and they don't want a rise and a crash. So the Juice Plus company has produced Luminate. It contains Alpinia galanga, lion's mane, cordyceps, sage, coffee berry, ashwagandha, to name a few. And it provides energy, but it also provides calm and focus. So it's a great way for you to get the energy that you need without having any negative side effects. And finally, we talked about the gut. Well, everything that comes into, if you look at yourself on this monitor and you can see your own picture, what you see is based on what you've eaten. You are what you eat, but everything has to go through your gut. And the gut has bacteria. We call it the gut microbiome. Well, the gut microbiome has been impacted by things called antibiotics or by medications. So even if you haven't had antibiotics, but you've eaten meat that was treated with antibiotics and you eat it, then your body, your microbiome has been affected by those antibiotics. So the Juice Plus company has produced Superbiome. These are strains of lactobacillus and bifidobacillus that you can take, and it's in a delayed release capsule. So it gets past the acid in the stomach and goes into your intestines. But if you get the bacteria and you don't feed them with fiber, then maybe they won't stick around. So we have the bacteria, the probiotic, and the fiber, the prebiotic, which you can just add to water and it makes a refreshing drink. And that helps you with your gut, replacing the diversity of your gut so that your immune system can flourish, so that your nervous system can flourish. Because most of the neurotransmitters that we thought were only in the brain are actually produced in the gut by the microbiome. And so improving your gut is helpful to you. So you can get access to the Facebook group, which is free and private. And you can also get access to all of or any one of the Juice Plus products by speaking to the person who invited you to this session tonight. You can, the third way that we help people is by coaching. I offer 5 free sessions to anyone who would like to jumpstart their healthy living journey. Now, these 5 free sessions, they only last about 45 minutes to an hour, and we could schedule it according to your schedule. So you can get access to our Facebook group. You can get access to the Juice Plus products so you can jumpstart your healthy living journey and provide that nutritional seatbelt to protect you going forward. And you can get access to the coaching to help you map out your healthy living journey. And you can also join us on immersive events like the Juice Plus Live that's taking place right now in Phoenix, Arizona. It's not too late to get your ticket for Saturday morning. So ask the person who invited you and we'll see what we can get to get you there. There will be other immersive events that you can join, and we look forward to you participating with us in that as well. The Paget's will be coming to a town near you. So if you're interested in hearing them and meeting them and hearing more about the Juice Plus company and what's available, then you can let us know and we will make sure that you are invited as well. So join the Juice Plus, join our Facebook group so that you can learn more, get recipes, ask questions, get your questions answered, get exposure to the Juice Plus products, get exposure to the free coaching, and be part of one of our immersive sessions. So all these together can help you jumpstart your healthy living journey. Now, what does that have to do with persons who have cancer or who are concerned about a cancer diagnosis? As I've mentioned before, the nutrition provides an anti-inflammatory environment to reduce the inflammation, the chronic inflammation that's associated with the start of those conditions. The medical professionals tell us that the foods that we eat can switch off cancer genes. So there are things that we can do. And if you don't have a diagnosis of cancer, or you know someone who's facing it, you can support them by helping them get access to information and to healthy nutrition to help their bodies heal and support them on their healthy living journey. So, in conclusion, if you want to be if you are no you don't want to be sick and tired of being sick and tired anymore, if you want to have that healthy seat belt, if you want to be fit and healthy, join me in saying, you can unmute yourself and say, let's eat more fruits and vegetables. So unmute and let's all say it together. Go ahead.
Let's eat
Let's eat
more
more fruits and vegetables.
fruits and vegetables.
That's
Let's
right.
eat more
Let's
fruits
eat
and
more.
vegetables.
That's right. Let's eat more fruits and vegetables, and we can help you do that. So I'm going to end the recording, and then we can have a time of question and answer. And I hope you'll join us again for Doctor's Orders. This is Coach Carla Joy saying thank you